Does anyone have a question?
Stuart, I have a question, Popsy.
Yes, Bob.
What is the necessity of happiness in our inner work?
What is the necessity of happiness? Well, what's the opposite of happiness? And everything that exists in you from the opposite to the point where they can sustain an open heart. It's just intense suffering, pain, difficulty, tension, the inability to communicate, to, lose life to the fullest. I mean, happiness is the essential goal of all spiritual practice. In fact, I would say happiness is people get jobs, they work, they make tons of money sometimes. It's supposed to make them happy. They get married, it's supposed to make them happy. Children, it's supposed to make them happy. They buy a house, they have 50 pairs of shoes, each one is supposed to make them happy. Meanwhile, most of the human race walks around in a terribly sorry state of deep unhappiness. And that deep unhappiness is what creates so much of the madness in the world. So I think one of those necessary things in life is to evolve into a state where you can live with your heart open, where there's love, there's compassion, there's happiness. It's the highest state of what it means to be human. So, I think it's very necessary. It's something that's worth struggling for, overcoming yourself for. It's something worth transforming the unhappiness in oneself into lightness of being. And when that happens, you begin to see the world differently. Understand, you see people differently, what they teach you, who they are. I was at kind of a meeting today and I listened to this woman go on and on about the daughter and how their daughter makes all these demands and is driving her crazy and, wants to do things that she doesn't want to do. And blah, blah, went on and on and on for a long time. So I finally said to her, I said, you have to love your children, excuse me, unconditionally. You have to love your daughter unconditionally. But part of unconditional love is being able to say with an open heart to your child, no, no. And, it lit this woman up like a light bulb. I don't think anybody ever told her that in her life. I can say, no. I don't mean an angry no. I don't mean a miserable no. I don't mean a resentful, revengeful no. Just a simple, loving no. And when you say it that way, the other person will understand that there are boundaries and you can't trespass on those boundaries. But it's a way of doing it. Mostly we respond with revenge, with anger, with, want to tear somebody's head off, and it does nothing but create war. But the response with an open heart, you can communicate with somebody. They're not in, intimidated by you. They're not threatened by you, You can say no lovingly. And they can really understand you mean no. At the same time, they understand that you're not out to get them. You're not angry at them. It's just, you can't do this right now. So I think being a happy person, having the kind of strength inside, saying that happiness is probably one of the most important goals of doing inner work in deep meditation practice. It might be the most important goal because from there's spiritual enlightenment. You've worked out your karma. You get free of all the entrapments in the world. Looking at it that way, happiness is an essential aspect of this work that we practice. What does everybody want? Everybody, everybody on this ridiculous planet wants to be happy. And yet how few people can do it because they don't have training. They don't know how to, keep their hearts open. They haven't a chakra system that's highly developed. They don't have the power of chi in themselves in order to sustain the happiness. And they don't have a capacity to turn a tense situation into something that's not so tense. So I think an open heart is the key. It gets open, not because I want my heart open, but because we do the inner work that gives us the strength inside to support that, to not be intimidated by all the stuff that goes on, to not think we're any better because we're just learning. We're all a bunch of students here, we're all learning what life has to teach us. It's better to make friends with life than walk around begrudgingly angry at the world because it does all this crazy stuff all the time. Does anyone else have a question? Everyone.
Thank you, Stuart. That was a great answer.
You're welcome, Bob. Good question. Does anyone else have a question? And then everything else follows. Understand, you want all the metaphysical stuff, you want all the spiritual stuff. If you develop your humanity, it all follows. It all comes. You're an open book here. You can receive all of that knowledge and wisdom. And then you allow that knowledge and wisdom, that energy of God, spirit, to flow through and guide your life, which is exactly what the higher forces in the universe want it to do, to guide a person's life. It disseminates to other people, to like that woman today, I don't even know. Does anyone else have a question? Please.
Hi, Stuart. Hi.
Hi.
You Can you talk about how we are here to return humanity to the world? We are here to return that humanity to the world.
Have I thought about it? No, I just do it. I don't think about it. Look, Aileen, I've spent a lifetime building a system inside that's strong enough to allow me to do that. It's not me. You become a servant of a higher energy. And to serve higher energy, heart has to be open. You have to be open. You have to really attain a level of your own humanity that lets spirit in. Then when it guides you, it guides you. Your activity becomes one in service of a higher energy in the universe. And that can't happen if you have a closed heart, if your mind is yakking all the time, if you're always angry and upset and vengeful, and it just doesn't work. All you do is create more tension in the world. So a product of doing deep meditation over time is the question you asked become real. And you don't think about it, you just live that way. You're able to live that way. And yeah, there's stuff that goes on, and you think stuff doesn't happen to me that I don't like. It happens all the time. But I've learned how to laugh at it a little bit, not take it too seriously, and how to transform it into positive energy, into life-giving energy, instead of getting sucked into it and suddenly fighting a war with somebody else because they did something I didn't like. You know? That's one of the byproducts of doing deep inner practice. Your humanity gets developed. And you don't even know when it's happening. It just happens. One day you're living that way. I really mean this. If you said, when did this happen to you, Stuart? I have no idea. One day I was just living this way. I don't even know what you call it. I just love living this way. Takes all the heavy burdens. I used to have so much heaviness in me, you know? I was kind of a weightlifter carrying all my crap around, you know? So, dear, don't think about it. Just keep working on yourself, growing. And one day you're going to just live this way. Become a child of God. Does anyone else have a question?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question, Stuart. Chris.
Yes, Chris.
Stuart, you've suggested to us that when we enter sleep, we ask for help to be worked on. And could you talk more about that? I've been being waked up by my skull cracking open, kind of, and I just like to know more about that.
Well, I always say a spiritual life is 24 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
You're sleeping, you're in a totally rest state of surrender. And if before you go to sleep, you take a little breath into the top of your head, you might do the double breathing exercise for 5 or 10 minutes. You're open, and the universe can come and work on. We all are in the most open state when we're sleeping. You know, we're completely relaxed. We're in another world. We're in a dream world. We're wherever, and the universe can work on us. Works on me all the time when I'm asleep. Sometimes I wake up in the morning, I don't recognize myself. No, I mean that, but you gotta just take a few breaths inside. Listen to your breathing before you fall asleep and get into the most relaxed state you can possibly get into. I mean, the universe doesn't sleep. We sleep. Those higher forces, they're there all the time. And they're constantly looking for people that are open enough to receive the energy. It's one of the big problems in the cosmos. Finding people that are enough to receive spiritual energy. So before you fall asleep, just listen to your breathing. Take a breath into the top of your head. Maybe meditate for 5 or 10 minutes. Then go to sleep in a total relaxed state. And the universe will work on you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Spiritual life is 24 hours a day. It's not this meditation class. How many times have I said this? This meditation class is like boot camp. You're learning how to have a spiritual life, developing a system that enables you to do these things. Be worked on while you're sleeping, to learn to live with an open heart, to learn to live a quiet mind, to learn to use life, to serve life, to serve God, Spirit. I'm going to serve. I have to announce that next month, I think I'm going to take 10 days. I have to. I'm really tired. It's been an unbelievable year. So I'm going to take a vacation, maybe sometime in early July, after the 4th of July. I think if I don't take this vacation, I'll have to cut these classes out for 6 months. I really need to get away and just relax and get away from the computer. So I'm going to take some time off, not a long time, maybe 5 and 10 days. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, if there are no more questions, thank you. God bless you all. Putting up with a tired Stuart. Thank you. Looking forward to seeing everybody. There'll be class tomorrow. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. So God bless you. Wonderful evening. And ciao.
Thank you very much, Stuart.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night, Stuart. Thank you.
Bye. Good night, everybody.